Good morning, friends. Today I'll be discussing calcium metabolism. Now, two of the questions which has come in the Kuhas University exam is one is the function of calcium for 3 marks, and second is the plasma calcium, which has come for 4 marks. Now let's look at how we can write, or how you're supposed to write the functions of calcium if it comes for the university exam. Now there are almost 13 to 15 functions of calcium, and it is not enough that you just list it, that is, just say number 1, calcification of bones and teeth, but at least give a line or two explaining each of the points that you are writing. Okay, so starting with the first point, that is the calcification of bones and teeth. So as you know, calcium and phosphorus are very important in the production of hydroxyapatite. And what is this hydroxyapatite? It is located in the bones, and it constitutes around 99% of body calcium. So this is responsible for the physical strength of the skeletal tissue and the bones. Okay, so hydroxyapatite contains almost 99% of body calcium, and it is responsible for the physical strength of skeletal tissue and bones. Secondly, calcium is involved in muscle contraction. That is, it interacts with troponin C and it activates muscle contraction. Third point, it is involved in blood coagulation. So several factors which are involved in clotting are dependent upon calcium. So for example, it is very important in the conversion of prothrombin to thrombin. Fourth point, it is involved in nerve transmission. That is, the excitability of the nerves and the neuromuscular transmission is due to the influx of calcium into the neurons. Fifth point, it is involved in membrane integrity and permeability. That is, it is able to control the structure and transport of the membrane, and also it is able to control the type of ions or water which is moving in and out of the cell through the membranes. Sixth point, certain enzymes are activated by calcium, for example, lipase, amylase, ATPase, and succinate dehydrogenase. Now, there is a protein known as calmodulin, which is a calcium binding regulatory protein. This calcium calmodulin is important in activating enzymes like adenylate cyclase and calcium dependent protein kinases. Calcium ions can also act as secondary or tertiary messengers for hormones. For example, hormones like epinephrine mediates their action through calcium. For example, in the liver, it is promoting glycogenolysis. So here calcium acts as a second messenger, of first messenger being epinephrine, the second messenger being calcium. Now the antidiuretic hormone acts via cyclic AMP, and then calcium becomes the third messenger. Now the eighth point is it helps in the release of certain hormones. For example, the parathyroid hormone, calcitonin, all are facilitated by calcium. It is promoting membrane excitability. That is, the sodium channels become excited or opened when deficit of calcium occurs. This increases the membrane potential, and the nerve fibers then become highly excitable, and it can cause muscle tetany. 10th point, it is regulating secretory processes, and it affects endocytosis, exocytosis, and the motility of the cells. It is involved in contact inhibition, that is, it's involved in cell-cell contact. It is involved in the addition of the cells and in cell-cell communication. 12th point, very important point, it is got an action on the heart. So it is responsible for the normal excitability of the heart. 13th point is that it brings about the hydrolysis of casein of milk. So it forms this calcium paracaseinase, which converts the milk into a more solid form. This increases the retention in the stomach and it facilitates the gastric digestion of milk, particularly in infants. So almost the 13 points which you have to give when you are asked a question on the functions of calcium. Now the other question was plasma calcium. Now if it was a 1-mark question, you could have just written the concentration of plasma calcium, which is 9 to 11 milligram %. But since it is a 4-mark question, you should be able to give the how this blood calcium levels are regulated, or what you call it is how is it maintained within this normal limit of 9 to 11 milligram %. And the other term for that is the homeostasis of serum calcium. Now, the 3 main organs which are responsible for calcium homeostasis is the bone, the kidney and the intestine. They are the 3 main organs, and the 3 main hormones are the parathyroid hormone, the active form of vitamin D, that is calcitriol, and calcitonin. So you should be able to explain calcium homeostasis with respect to all these 3 hormones mainly in these 3 organs. So the parathyroid hormone is secreted when the levels of calcium go down. That is, low calcium concentration is a signal for the secretion of parathyroid hormone. So what does this parathyroid hormone do? It binds to a receptor on the membrane, and that is on the target cell. It activates the enzyme adenylate cyclase, and it promotes the synthesis of cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP in turn will cause the phosphorylation of proteins by cyclic AMP dependent protein kinases. These proteins which are then formed, they perform their biological action. Now let's look at what is the action of PTH on bone. PTH, since the calcium, it is the low levels of calcium signals the secretion of PTH hormone. So what does PTH do on the bone? It causes the decalcification or demineralization of the bones, and this is caused by osteoclast, and PTH stimulates the activity of enzymes like pyrophosphatase and collagenase. This causes bone resorption, demineralization occurs, and the levels of blood calcium will increase. So the action of PTH on bone is highly significant in maintaining the calcium homeostasis. But what happens, it's done at the expense of the loss of calcium from the bone, particularly if there is a dietary deficiency of calcium. Now what is the action of PTH on the kidney? PTH, or the parathyroid hormone, will increase the reabsorption of calcium by the kidney tubules. So this is a very rapid action to elevate the blood calcium levels. So PTH will promote the production of calcitriol or active vitamin D by stimulating the enzyme 1-alpha hydroxylase, which hydroxylates the 25-hydroxycholecalciferol at the first position and causes the formation of the active form of vitamin D of calcitriol. So it decreases the renal excretion of calcium, it increases the excretion of phosphate, and it inhibits its renal reabsorption. So the renal reabsorption of phosphate is also inhibited, and it increases the excretion of phosphate. But the action on kidney is less important as compared to the bone. What is the action on intestine? The action is indirect because it increases the intestinal absorption of calcium by activating the synthesis of calcitriol. So calcitriol is the main thing which is going to play its action on the intestine. So it activates calcitriol to bring about its action on the intestine. Therefore, the action is indirect. Now, what is the role of vitamin D in regulating the levels of plasma calcium? First is the action on intestine, which is very important. So this 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol, which is the active form of vitamin D, will enter the intestinal wall. It binds to a cytoplasmic receptor. This hormone receptor complex then interacts with DNA, and it causes the transcription of a specific gene which codes for a protein known as calbindin. Now, what does this calbindin do? It induces the synthesis of a specific calcium binding protein in intestine, thereby increasing the intestinal absorption of both calcium and phosphorus, and thereby vitamin D increases the calcium levels in the blood by increasing the absorption of calcium at the level of the intestine. What is its action of calcitriol on the bone? It increases the number and activity of osteoblasts. So it stimulates the osteoblasts to secrete alkaline phosphatase. Local concentration of phosphate is increased, and the ionic product of calcium and phosphorus also increases, leading to mineralization. In the renal tubule, it will increase the reabsorption of calcium and phosphorus. So this is just the figure to explain the role of PTH at the level of the liver, at the level of the kidney, the intestine, and at the level of the bone. So at the level of the kidney, it stimulates reabsorption of calcium and activates vitamin D. In the small intestine, its action is indirect. It activates vitamin D and causes increased absorption of calcium from the diet. In the bone, PTH is stimulating osteoclast activity, which causes bone resorption and release of calcium into the bloodstream. The third hormone is calcitonin. What is its role in calcium homeostasis? Its role is antagonistic to that of the PTH. Okay, so it is secreted when the level of calcium levels increase. So what is its role? It is to bring down the level of calcium. So its role is opposite to that of PTH. So at the level of the bones, it promotes calcification of the bones. It increases the activity of osteoblasts and decreases bone resorption. At the level of the kidney, it increases the excretion of the calcium, thereby decreasing blood calcium levels. So this last figure shows us what happens when low blood calcium is decreased. So that is a signal for the parathyroid hormone to be formed. It stimulates the production of the parathyroid or the release of the parathyroid hormone. It senses the low blood calcium. The parathyroid glands will then secrete the parathyroid hormone. The hormone stimulates osteoclast activity, and thereby there will be resorption of bone or demineralization, and it releases calcium into the blood. There will be an increase in the blood calcium levels. If the blood calcium increases, then this is sensed by the thyroid gland. It secretes calcitonin, and this hormone will now stimulate osteoblast activity. So it involves the entry of calcium into the bone. So the formation of bone mineralization occurs by removing the calcium from the blood, and thereby the blood calcium will then fall and come back to normal levels. So if you are asked about plasma calcium as a 4-mark question, please be sure that you are able to show the homeostasis and the role of hormones in maintaining this normal level of blood calcium within the range 9 to 11 milligram per cent.